So let me explain God speaking to you. God speaks to you. Okay. Now you need to hear and listen, and then you need to summarize, interpret what you hear, and then you can communicate it to others, and then they hear it, and then they interpret it and communicate. You can see there are multiple places where failure can occur. First, you could want something so bad that you think God said it, but that was just you. Have we ever done this? Okay, we've all done this if we're honest, right? You're like, I want something so bad, I kind of talk myself into it, but maybe that wasn't God. In addition, can Satan and demons communicate to us? Yeah, so you're like, I heard something. Well, 1 John says, don't believe every spirit, but test the spirits, because not every spirit comes from God. So it's like, okay, I heard something. Is this me? Was this Satan or demons, or was this really the Lord? So we got to be careful. In addition, then, we can mishear. Have you ever misheard something? Okay, if you're married, you're like, yeah. I said, take out the trash, and they didn't hear me. Okay, that's my wife laughed. And so this explains 30 years of our relationship. And so sometimes God speaks, but you don't hear. How many of you have heard something, but then the way you understood it was wrong, so the way you communicated it was wrong? Or you communicated it right, and then that person heard it, and the way they communicated it was wrong. Again, back to marriage. This happens all the time. So the point is, we need to be careful that we're listening, interpreting, communicating, and that they're listening, interpreting, and communicating accurately. Okay? This is very important. But that being said, there are times that the only thing that can help us is to hear from God. And the most powerful times in my life are when I carve out silence and solitude to hear from the Lord. I'll speak personally to you. As a brand new Christian, God spoke to me at the age of 19. I was on a silent walk in the woods, and God said, Mary Grace, preach the Bible, train men, plant churches. So that's what I've been doing since 19. At various points along the way, God has spoken to me. And what I find is that when I hear from the Lord, I have a clarity and a confidence that I otherwise don't have. I'm like, I got to do this. If you're like, how about this? You're like, I don't have time for that. I got to do this. And a confidence, like I'm going to go do it, because that's what I was told to do. And just as your pastor, I'll tell you, this is now something that I've put into my weekly routine. I take a day or two a week and we don't have little kids anymore. We have one going to be a senior. So if you got little kids, you're going to be like, Mark said 2 days off. I'll see you later. But what does it look like to intentionally put solitude and silence into your schedule? Even if it's a couple hours or part of a day. I now go oftentimes 48 hours a week in total silence. Just silence. I like it. In fact, what I find is the more I get silence, the more I like it, and so does Grace. Okay? And what I find is, as I'm listening and processing and talking to the Lord, it becomes very conversational. It's like me and my Father. In fact, it is me and my Father. So I talk to him and I listen. And we verbal process, and I go for hikes in the woods. And what I'm finding is that I need this more than I thought that I did. And the more that I do it, the more I need it. And I've had some really profound, incredible encounters with the Lord. I'll share one with you, and then we'll jump into a few details. I was getting ready to teach this Elijah series, and it was after Christmas, and Grace and I were up in the mountains, and I was thinking about the Elijah story and studying and trying to get the study guide ready and trying to figure out, okay, and I felt like the Lord was trying to say a lot of stuff to me that I was supposed to share with you. And some of it was stuff I'd thought about, some of it was stuff God brought back to mind, some of it was stuff like, I've never even heard of that. And I'm thinking about it and processing about, okay, Lord's got my mind going. So I sat down to collect some of my notes. And I sat there for 24 hours straight. Grace kept coming over. She's like, you okay? I was like, I don't know. She gave me something to eat, something to drink, because she's seen this before. I kind of get in these deep, manic grooves. And I sat there for 24 hours, and I wrote a book. and I had no outline. I didn't know I was going to write a book. I thought it was on vacation. But as I found that as I turned the phone off and turned the TV off and just had spent a few days with the Lord, I was hearing so much that by the time I was done, it was a 60,000 word book in one setting. And it's everything I'm sharing with you on Elijah. And it's the most popular sermon series I've ever preached. The book will be out in July. I'll explain it. This is not a book pitch, by the way. I'm not taking a dime. It'll be free online. Nobody's going to publish it, so we're giving it away. Nobody will publish it. I'm sure, so you can't cancel me. I have no publisher. You can't criticize me. I'm not taking any money. You can't attack my friends because it has no endorsements. And, you get what you pay for. It's free, lower your expectations, but I just want to give it away. So it's called New Days, Old Demons, and I did a refresh and an edit on it. It's at the publisher. It'll be out in July. The subtitle's on the back. A study of Elijah, sex, gender, ancient paganism masquerading as progressive Christianity, victims of nothing, woke politics, the transgender Jezebel spirit that castrates men, and the passive Ahab, soft woke Christian beta male spirit leading the conga line to Sheol carrying a rainbow flag. So it comes out in January. So it comes out in January. And we've got a list of woke pastors. We're going to send a free copy and trigger them. So, and the point is, though, sometimes just listening, it's amazing what you can hear. And some people are like, how do you know it was of the Lord? Well, read it and tell me. Send an email to nobodycares@realfaith.com. Okay, so then the question is, it's a lot funner than I thought it was going to be. Thank you for participating.
Howdy, Pastor Mark here. Thanks for viewing the clip. And if you'd like the entire sermon, we've got it ready to go.